Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be checking out the DPVR E4 VR headset. Not the most catchiest name in the world, but it has to be said there is a distinct lack of mid-range PC VR headsets out there. We haven't really had one since the Reverb G2, that's pretty sad. So it's great to see a new PC VR focused headset on the market. Question is though, is it any good? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you, the best I can anyway. I've been using it for the past couple of days, okay? So I haven't really been using it for a lot of time, but I do have a pretty good impression now. Enough anyway to make this video today. So let's start with the unboxing process. This actually is a very good thing, and I was quite surprised considering this is, a fairly mid-range headset in terms of its price, that the unboxing was pretty decent. For example, I really like how some of the protective film was covering some of the main features of the headset, like the cameras and the very cool looking holographic front panel there, which screams 80s to me. I really like that, to be honest. Very cheesy, but I do think it has a distinct design. I also like how there's plenty of bubble wrap when you get it, and overall the feeling of the unboxing process is pretty decent. Now once you take the headset out of its box and you feel the materials used, overall it kind of just feels quite plasticky, it has to be said, but I do feel it's well put together, but it just doesn't feel very premium at all. In fact, even with the likes of, say, the Quest 2, this is a lot lower quality than that, without a doubt. Now, in terms of the controllers, I do like how they feel, and especially the standardized Quest 2 layout that we're seeing more and more of. But it's the same deal, really, with the controllers in terms of the build quality. They remind me very much of the Rift S controllers, which were quite subpar in terms of their plastics. However, I do think they will survive a few drops. But I do feel as well that the Pico 4 and Quest 2 controllers are better made, definitely. And we'll talk about the controller tracking a bit more in a moment. In terms of the specs, well, the main deal here is it has a single LCD panel with a resolution of 1832 by 1920 per eye, with a field of view claimed of about 116 degrees. And I have to say the field of view is absolutely excellent on this, really. The refresh rate, there is one, I think, 72 Hz, 90 Hz and 120 Hz as well, which is very cool. The weight, this is a very big positive for the headset. It's extremely light, like super light. That's probably because it doesn't have an XR2 chipset inside, because this is unapologetically a PC VR headset. That is good news, in my opinion. We need more of that, please. I think the facial interface, well, it's rubber, which I don't like, really. I think it's a little bit harsh, feels, again, quite plasticky. But it will be quite easy to wipe down if you get a bit sweaty in VR. I do like how this, look at that, it moves completely up, which as a content creator, I have to say, is very useful indeed. Or even for flying, if you want to just quickly look at your keyboard or your controls, you literally just do that and you've got a full view of the world. That's a nice touch. Although this hinge, hopefully it'll stand the test of time, but I guess we won't know that until we've used it for many, many months. But overall, I do like that feature. Another plus for this headset. Now, I have to say the lightweight of this device is ruined by this sort of connector for the HDMI port. It kind of sits on your shoulder as you're wearing it, and it drags you down. It reminds me a little bit of the Reverb G1. I think that had a similar sort of thing, where the connection was right by your head. Now, talking of the display, it is a single LCD panel with software IPD adjustment. Don't like that at all. In fact, I found, and my IPD is pretty standard at around 65 millimeters, that I couldn't quite get it dialed in for my eyes. And after about sort of 15-20 minutes, I just felt a little bit weird. Like I wanted to get out the headset. It didn't feel comfortable for me personally. So I do wonder what it'll be like for anyone on that higher or lower range of the sort of standard IPD. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the headsets that came out like the Rift S, and there was a few others as well that had software IPD. That was soon ditched in the sort of later iterations of even the Quest 2, which only has 3 different options. I would favour that personally over software IPD. I don't like that at all, so that's a great shame. Now, in terms of the price, it's on their website for $549. But checking Amazon, it seems to be £622, which is quite a lot of money, and very much up there with the likes of the Reverb G2. And that's if you don't get a good deal on it, because right now there's lots of deals out there, so definitely keep checking their website. And when you consider the fact, for instance, the facial interface is attached with rubber plungers, it's things like that that I think, I'd rather, I'd much prefer a magnetic facial interface. But to be fair, even the Crystal doesn't have that. But even Velcro would be much better than this weird sort of rubber sort of attachment, which it does feel a little bit cheap, to be honest. Now, also, just to say before I forget, that DPVR did send me this headset for free, so thank you to those guys for that. However, all my opinions, as you know on this channel, are always my own, and I'm completely honest, and that's why you're getting the good and the bad with this headset. So let's now move on to the software. I have to say, of all the VR headsets I've ever tried, and as you know, I've tried pretty much all of them, the plug and play experience of this device is really, really good. For example, even when you install the DPVR Assistant, it plays a cool little video for you to watch. That's very, very neat, and how it fades off once the installation has been completed. And in terms of the setup, where you have to sort of set up your boundary, which it has pass-through cameras, which isn't very good quality, but it's fine, it does its job. You can either set a boundary or use a seating position like I did. There isn't any options that I can see for changing the resolution or perhaps using motion reprojection, which is all part of Steam VR, because I believe this is pretty much a native Steam VR headset in terms of its capabilities. There's no OpenXR here, unfortunately, which is, again, a negative for flight simulation without a doubt. But overall, the DPVR team, especially the software engineering side, they need a raise because they are very good at what they do. And I think overall the software, it's clean, it's simple, and it gives you no headaches at all. Very, very good indeed. Top marks for that. Now, in terms of the tracking of the controllers, well, I did try a few games, even though this is the Flight Sim channel. I'll put some shots in now of After the Fall, and I must admit I did enjoy just messing around with the headset in that game. As you can see, I was testing out the tracking, including trying to occlude both controllers and even holding them up really high up and then looking down and then back at them, and they did stay where they were. I didn't try any sort of bow and arrow type games, but for my use, which is mainly first-person shooters, it seemed very good indeed. And of course, for flight simulation, I don't think that would be an issue either. The trigger button and the thumbstick felt pretty good. And overall, yeah, I don't have anything too bad to say about the controllers. I do like how it's one single AA battery. I think is it AA? I think so. Just like the Quest 2. I don't know how long those batteries will last. But yeah, much better than the Windows mixed reality controls of the Reverb G2 by a long stretch of the imagination. So yeah, that's definitely a plus for this headset. So let's just talk about my first impressions of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, as I say, the comfort, well, didn't feel very good at all. And after about 20 minutes, I couldn't wait to get the headset off my head, which is a shame. And I think that's down to a few factors, like the HDMI connector, which seems to drag the headset down over time. And because it's so light, it does tend to move it out of the sweet spot as well. Now, talking of sweet spot, let's talk about the visual fidelity. Now, the Fresnel lenses, of course, are not a match for pancake lenses, which we're used to now on this channel. However, I will say the overall eye box or sweet spot is better than the Reverb G2. However, the resolution, which is the same pretty much as the Quest 2, is okay, but it's not up there. Not even close to the Reverb G2. The clarity really does suffer, and I'm wondering actually whether the clarity is worse than the Quest 2 simply because of that wider field of view, because it is definitely much better in terms of the field of view than the Reverb G2 and Quest 2. It reminds me of the Pico 4. Very, very good indeed. And I've got to say the binocular overlap on this headset is the best I've seen. And that is all headsets I've ever tried, the stereo overlap is brilliant on this. Very, very good. It feels like you are just looking at one screen with both eyes, which you kind of are, but you know what I mean? You don't have anything in the way. You don't see the middle interface or anything like that. It's very, very good. Feels very natural. Although I have to say the visual quality is pretty poor and the colors are pretty much the worst I've seen in any headset to date. Very washed out. I used to think that the Quest 2 colors were pretty awful, to be honest. I don't really like the colors in that headset. But yeah, the LCD panel on this with the color palettes, maybe that could be updated in firmware. Honestly, I know you guys are used to me showing the Vario Air and Pimax Crystal, but don't think that I've been spoilt by great VR headsets in terms of the image quality. I have been using the Quest 2 quite a lot and Reverb G2 prior to trying this out, so I could get a good feel for this headset, and this does not compare to both headsets in terms of the visual fidelity, unfortunately. Now, in terms of the audio, well, it goes from bad to pretty much hopeless, really, because you're going to want to use the jack on this headset, which is on here, I believe, on this connector box. It's just awful. The audio is the worst I've ever heard in any VR headset, period. Actually, no, I'll take that back. I think the Apara 5K, which isn't even out anyway, was worse than this, definitely. But yeah, you're not going to want to use the audio on this at all. I did see one reviewer state that the audio on this is up there with the Quest 2. Not even close. Absolutely not. In fact, I've purposely not been watching many reviews of this headset because I wanted to have my own opinion on it. But I did read a review. I can't remember who's by. And yeah, they did state the audio is pretty good. It's not. It's rubbish. It really isn't. So you're going to need some headphones for this, guys. Absolutely. So really, at this point, I could carry on, but I don't think I need to. Overall, I do not recommend anybody on my channel buy this headset. Sorry, DPVR, but this, especially for the price point, I think you should buy a Quest 2, especially as now they are, I think, £300, which is just insane value. Or maybe even the Pico 4. You can run that headset even with a 3080 graphics card, because I've now tried it. But you do need a bit more power, really, perhaps a 4070 Ti. But I would recommend just get a Reverb G2, guys. The Reverb G2 is better in every regard. It has great colours, brilliant motion reprojection. It's really all-day comfortable, better build quality. Just, it's an absolute total hammer blow for the G2, which is a great shame considering this is a new VR headset. And I'm disappointed because I really want companies to bring out mid-range PC VR headsets. We really need that gap fulfilling in the market. But this isn't it, I'm sorry to say. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please do let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more of this headset, because I'm still happy to use it. Perhaps I could try it with DCS or Beat Saber on roller skates. Obviously joking. Although if you want to see Melissa do that, you know, let me know in the comments below. But overall, I don't recommend this headset at all. Buy a Reverb G2. You'll love it. Thanks so much. I'll see you again very soon. Take care and bye for now.